Welcome to Little Seeds of Faith, a podcast where children help read a treasured Bible story, and we get a chance to explore and talk about the lessons we learn. Hi, my name is Joanie, and I love reading. My most treasured book to read is the Bible. The Bible has great adventures, love stories, stories of hope and truth, and most importantly, stories of faith. Welcome to Little Seeds of Faith. Hi, I am here today with Anouk. Can you please tell me how old you are and where you are from?
I'm 7 years old and I'm from New Zealand.
Can you tell me 3 things that make you, you?
Well, my name is French and it means grace, and my special talents are writing, reading and acting, and I find space and the solar system really interesting.
Space and solar system are so interesting. What's your favorite part about space?
I find the stars and the black hole and the nebulas really interesting.
Why is that?
They just seem to hit me. Interesting, really.
That's fine. They just hit you. I like it. That's very good. Great. So we're here today. You're here with me today so that we can read a part of the Bible together. What are we going to read about today?
We're going to read the 10 plagues.
The 10 plagues. So do you know where in the Bible we find the 10 plagues?
In Moses.
With the story of Moses. What book of the Bible is that? Do you know?
No.
So the book of Exodus. Right, it's the second book of the Bible. We find the story of Moses in the book of Exodus. And we're going to read about each plague that is brought upon Egypt. Why are the Israelites in Egypt at this time?
Because Pharaoh had brought them to work as slaves.
Yes, they're as slaves. Do you remember who the first Israelite was that was in Egypt? That brought all the people?
I can't remember.
His name is Joseph. Remember Joseph? Yeah, how did Joseph get to Egypt?
I think he travels by donkey.
Yeah, very well. He traveled by donkey. Remember his brother sold him as a slave to Egypt, right? And then because of Joseph being able to interpret the Pharaoh's dream at that time, he saved lots of corn and fed a bunch of people as a family in the land.
Yeah.
And then all of Joseph's family came to Egypt because that's where the food was. And so now we are at the story of Moses. And this is, hundreds of years later. There's a new Pharaoh. And this Pharaoh, we know, is kind of afraid of the Israelites. And they're slaves now. And they have to do a lot of hard work, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so
I'm learning the books of the Bible. I know it up to Job at the moment. I listened to all of your Little Seeds of Faith stories, and I really enjoy it, especially the Job one.
The Job one. That was a good one, wasn't it? Yeah. Yeah, I did that one with Melody.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for telling me you enjoy the Little Seeds of Faith. I enjoy doing it. I really enjoy talking to all these different kids and talking about the Bible. I think these stories are so special. And I'm glad you're working on knowing the books of the Bible, because it helps us find the stories when we know all the books of the Bible, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
lots of my friends.
Go ahead.
Lots of my friends, they've learned the books of the Bible, the song, but yeah.
Yeah. So are you learning it by a song, or are you just learning it just to say it?
I'm learning to say it at the moment, but yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes songs help us to learn it, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's good. So we are talking about Moses. Moses is out taking care of his sheep, and hopefully one day maybe I'll read the story about the burning bush with somebody, and how God meets Moses at the burning bush and tells him to go back to Egypt and tell Pharaoh to what? To
let his people go.
To let his people go. And that's where the 10 plagues start. Do you think Pharaoh wants all of his slaves to go?
No.
They're working really hard for him, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. And would you want all your workers to just disappear?
No.
No, you wouldn't. You want to keep them for yourselves, especially if you're a king and you're powerful. And so here we are. And so God has to somehow get this big group of people out of Egypt into where does God want these people to go?
Into the wilderness.
Into the wilderness. And where is their end point?
They camp near a mountain. I forgot the mountain's name.
Yeah, they go to a mountain, but he really wants them to go to the promised land, the land of Canaan, right? The land that was promised to Abraham. And it should be, a couple, not a very long journey, but later on we find out that it took the Israelites 40 years to get to the promised land, didn't it? It's a very long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're here and Moses has to go in front of Pharaoh. Have you ever had to go up in front of somebody who is like a king or someone really important and ask them to let their people go?
No.
No, how would that make you feel to get in front of people? Because,
Nervous.
Yeah, I'd be nervous. And I think Moses was quite nervous also. He felt that he didn't have the right words. So God is giving Moses somebody special to go with him. Who does God give Moses to go in front of Pharaoh?
His brother Aaron.
Yeah, so they get to team up and go to Pharaoh together. That's definitely helpful to have somebody on your side, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So shall we begin to read and then we can continue talking while we're reading?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we're going to begin reading the story of the 10 plagues. The Lord said to Moses, "You shall speak all that I command you, and Aaron your brother shall tell Pharaoh to send the children of Israel out of his land. And I will harden Pharaoh's heart and multiply my signs and my wonders in the land of Egypt. But Pharaoh will not heed you, so that I may lay my hand on Egypt and bring my armies and my people, the children of Israel, out of the land of Egypt by great judgments. And the Egyptians shall know that I am the Lord." So not only is God taking his people out of the land of Egypt, so they are no longer slaves, but also so that the people will know that he is God. Because people have forgotten who God is, didn't they?
Yeah.
Right? Because who did the Egyptians worship?
They worshipped... I'm forgetting all these things.
That's okay. You can forget them. You don't have to know the answers. I'm just asking. They worshipped whatever they wanted to worship, whether it was the god of the sun or the god of the harvest. I mean, they had all these different gods that they worshipped, but they didn't worship the true God. So our God, the God that we know, the one true God, he is saying he wants to show all these signs so the people know that he is the God, and there isn't a God of the sun or a God of anything else, right?
No.
So we are at the first plague. So the Lord said to Moses, "Say to Pharaoh,
The Lord God of the Hebrews has sent me to you, saying, Let my people go, that they may serve me in the wilderness. Behold, I will strike the waters which are in the river with the rod that is in my hand, and they shall be turned to blood, and the fish that are in the river shall die. The river shall stink, and the Egyptians will loathe to drink the water of the river."
Then the magicians of Egypt did so with their enchantments, and Pharaoh's heart grew hard, and he did not heed them, as the Lord had said. So that's our first plague, right? So the first plague, so tell me about the first plague.
The first plague is waters becoming blood, and God turned the river into blood, so the Egyptians can't drink from the water.
Yeah, they can't drink from it. It's yucky. They don't want to drink it. But the magicians were able to make this happen also. Somehow, the Egyptian magicians made it happen. And so Pharaoh, did he say, "Okay, I'll let the people go"? No, he didn't, did he? His heart was hardened. And he said, "Nope, the people are not going." And we know that God took away this plague. And we're going to read, but another one came. So here comes the second plague.
Okay.
And the Lord spoke to Moses.
Go to Pharaoh and say to him, Thus says the Lord, let my people go, that they may serve me. But if you refuse to let them go, behold, I will smite all your territory with frogs, so the river shall bring forth frogs abundantly, which shall go up and come into your house, into your bedroom, on your bed, into the houses of your servants, on your people, into your ovens, and into your kneading bowls, and the frogs shall come up on you, on your people, and on all your servants.
Then Pharaoh called for Moses and Aaron and said,
Entreat the Lord that he may take away the frogs from me and from my people, and I will let the people go, that they may sacrifice to the Lord.
So the Lord did according to the word of Moses, and the frogs died. But when Pharaoh saw that there was relief, he hardened his heart and did not heed them, as the Lord had said. All right, so what's the second plague?
The second plague is frogs.
Do you like frogs?
They're okay. My mum used to catch them in her grandma's pond. She really liked frogs.
Yeah, well, I think one frog's okay. I'm okay with one frog.
Yeah.
But what about frogs that are everywhere? In your bed and in your pots and everywhere you step. What do you think of those?
Not okay for me.
Yeah, not okay for me either. Definitely yuck. And even Pharaoh and everyone was like, no more frogs. So God gets rid of the frogs. But does Pharaoh let those people go?
No.
No. All right, so we're sent a third plague. Let's read about the third plague. So the Lord said to Moses,
Say to Aaron, stretch out your rod and strike the dust of the land, so that it may become lice throughout all the land of Egypt.
And they did so. For Aaron stretched out his hand with his rod and struck the dust of the earth, and it became lice on man and beast. Now the magicians so worked with their enchantments to bring forth lice, but they could not. Then the magicians said to Pharaoh, This is the finger of God. So the magicians are now believe that there is a God, right? But
Yes.
Pharaoh's heart grew hard, and he did not heed them. He did not listen to them, just as the Lord had said. All right, so what's this third plague?
The third plague is lice.
Do you know what lice makes you do?
I think it makes you scratch your hair because they go in your hair.
Yeah, it makes you very, very itchy. They just crawl. Oh, I'm itching myself thinking about it. Lice. Oh, not fun. This is the blood and the frogs, and now the lice. Ugh, not fun at all, right?
The ancient Egyptians in that time period, I'm not sure in this Bible time, but in the ancient Egyptian time period, they didn't have much hair. They would shave their hair off their head. And girls would usually have a bit of hair left, like a ponytail, and that would be all.
Yeah, we've seen lots of pictures with the pharaohs and the Egyptians with like no hair and with a little bit of a little ponytail or something, yes. But they would still be on your skin. The lice would still be on your skin and crawl and make you itchy, right? Even if you don't have hair. Not fun. So Pharaoh's all itchy with lice, and then God kills all the lice. Does Pharaoh let the people go?
No.
His heart is hardened still. All right, let's read the fourth plague, all right? So, and the Lord said to Moses, Say to Pharaoh,
Thus says the Lord, let my people go, and that they may serve me. Or else, if you will not let my people go, behold, I will send swarms of flies on you and your servants, on your people, into your houses. The houses of the Egyptians shall be full of swarms of flies, and also the ground on which they stand.
And the Lord did so. Thick swarms of flies came into the house of Pharaoh, into his servants' houses, and into all the land of Egypt. But when the Lord removed the swarms of flies from Pharaoh, from his servants, and from his people, not one remained. But Pharaoh hardened his heart at this time also. Neither would he let the people go. All right, so what's the fourth plague?
Flies.
So the fourth one is flies. What happens when you have one fly in the room?
They make eggs.
Eggs, right? But one fly, you ever heard of just one fly stuck in your room flying around?
No.
No? Okay, well, we have one fly in our house right now. Let me tell you, this fly is loud and it flies everywhere. And it'll land on you and you try to catch it and it can't catch it. And it's very annoying. One fly is annoying. It's like having one frog's okay, but one fly is annoying. But then having swarms of flies, what would that be like?
It would probably feel like you're living in a house that's really dirty and not good for your health. It would probably not be so good for your health.
No, I don't think it'd be good for your health to be around that many flies. And also they make lots of noise. Flies are loud. So you hear lots of buzzing going on, right? So not only would be flies landing on you and biting you and making you itchy. You're already itchy because you had lice, biting you. Now you got flies on top of you that are itchy, making you itch. And they're loud and they're everywhere.
In summer, we have lots of problems with flies because they like to come into our house.
Yeah. And is it fun?
Yeah. No, not. Actually, me and my brother like to get the fly swats and try and swat the flies.
Are you able to get them?
Sometimes we do. Yeah. And once my brother squashed a fly with his fingers. That's a bit disgusting.
Yeah, disgusting is the right word for that. Yeah. So you can probably get one or two flies with a fly swatter, but a swarm of flies, you can't get those with a fly swatter. So it'd just be loud and annoying and itchy and disgusting and unhealthy to be around these flies. God gets rid of them because, Pharaoh asked Moses, and Moses, asked God to get rid of them, and they're gone. Okay. Will Pharaoh let the people go?
No.
He says, I will not let them go. All right, the fifth plague. Then the Lord said to Moses, go into Pharaoh and tell him,
thus says the Lord God of the Hebrews, let my people go, that they may serve me. For if you refuse to let them go and still hold them, behold, the hand of the Lord will be on your cattle in the field, on the horses, on the donkeys, on the camels, on the oxen, and on the sheep. A very severe pestilence. And the Lord will make a difference between the livestock of Israel and the livestock of Egypt, so nothing shall die of all that belongs to the children of Israel.
So the Lord did this thing, and on the next day all the livestock of the Egypt died. But the livestock of the children of Israel, not one died. But the heart of Pharaoh became hard, and he did not let the people go. All right, so what was the fifth one?
The fifth one was pestilence.
Yeah, a disease that came and killed the livestock, all the cows and the sheep. Was it in all of Egypt, the livestock that died?
No, the Israelites still had the children of Israel still had their livestock.
Yeah, we see here that now there's a divide between where the plagues are happening and where they're not happening. So where are they happening?
They're happening in the Egyptians.
Yeah. And how do you think that would make Pharaoh feel if all of his animals were dying, but none of the Israelites' animals were dying?
Really angry.
Yeah, more angry. So he's going to say, go, get out of my sight?
No.
No. So he's saying, no, his heart was hardened and he makes them stay longer. All right, let's go to the sixth plague. This is another a very painful plague. So the Lord said to Moses and Aaron,
take yourselves handfuls of ashes from a furnace, and let Moses scatter it toward the heavens in the sight of Pharaoh, and it will become fine dust in all the land of Egypt, and it will cause boils that break out in sores on man and beast throughout all the land of Egypt.
Then they took ashes from the furnace and stood before Pharaoh, and Moses scattered them toward heaven. So he takes these ashes and throws them up to heaven, right? And they caused boils that broke out in sores on man and beast. But the Lord hardened the heart of Pharaoh, and he did not listen to them, just as the Lord spoke to Moses. All right, so what was this plague?
Boils.
Ouch. Do you know anything about boils?
Not really. I know that you usually only have one boil though, and they're really itchy. And
They're painful. From what I understand, they're very painful. Yeah, you get one and it's like a big bump, kind of like a big blistery type thing that goes on your skin. And so how does Pharaoh feel about this? Is he like, okay, I'm done. I'm itchy. My animals are dead. I've got boils. I'm hurting. Okay, you guys can go now. Moses, take the people and go. Is that what he says?
No, he's really angry about it, and he wants them to work harder.
Yeah, he says, nope, they have to stay here. All right, that's 6 plagues. Okay, let's go on to the 7th one. What happens in the 7th one? Then the Lord said to Moses, say to Pharaoh,
Thus says the Lord God of the Hebrews, let my people go, that they may serve me. For at this time I will send all my plagues to you, your very heart, and on your servants and on your people, that you may know that there is none like me in all the earth.
He who feared the word of the Lord among the servants of Pharaoh made his servants and his livestock flee to the houses. So here we have some of the Egyptians are getting smart. The Egyptians are tired of all this stuff happening. And so they take some of their livestock and they put them in the houses of the Israelites to protect them. So there were some smart Egyptians that had figured this out. But he who did not do that, regard the word of the Lord, left his servants and his livestock in the field. So some took their animals and put them in the houses of the Israelites, and some left their animals and their servants in the field. And let's see what happens to them. And Moses stretched out his rod toward heaven, and the Lord sent thunder and hail, and fire darted to the ground. And the Lord rained hail on the land of Egypt. Only in the land of Goshen, where the children of Israel were, there was no hail. All right. So the 7th plague is what?
Hail.
Yeah. Have you ever seen hail?
Yes, me and my brother like to collect it when there's a thunderstorm.
Yeah. What's the size of the hail that you have seen?
It's usually about that big, not too big.
All right. So like pretty small, like the size smaller than a penny.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like not too big of a hail. So the hail that came down on the Egyptians was big hail. And not only was it just hail, there was fire along with it also, right? And there's thunder and hail. And it was big enough hail. So what did this hail do to all the livestock and the servants that were still out in the field? I don't know if I read that in there, but if we go to Exodus and we read it, happens, they're going to die. They all died. They got hurt. They got injured because the hail was so big. It was such a big storm. It'd be very hard to survive that storm. Okay. So again, this only happens in Egypt and not to the Israelites. Pharaoh, okay, I'm itchy. I hurt. I couldn't drink my water. There was frogs. And now there's hail that has ruined my crops and my livestock and some servants. All right, Moses, take the people. Go. I don't want to see you anymore. Is that what happens?
No.
No. Man, when is Pharaoh going to learn his lesson? His heart keeps getting harder and harder. He gets angrier and angrier, right? All right.
Yeah.
We got another plague. Let's read this one. Then the Lord said to Moses,
Stretch out your hand over the land of Egypt for the locusts, that they may come upon the land of Egypt and eat every herb of the land, all that the hail has left.
So Moses stretched out his rod over the land of Egypt, and the Lord brought locusts, and the locusts went up all over the land of Egypt and rested on the territory of Egypt. And they ate every herb of the land and all the fruit of the trees which the hail had left. So there remained nothing green on the trees or on the plants of the field throughout all the land of Egypt. Then the Lord turned a very strong west wind, which took the locusts away and blew them into the Red Sea. But the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he did not let the children of Israel go. All right. We're at the 8th plague. So the 7th one, the hail ruined a lot of the land and the livestock and what was in the field. What comes next?
The locusts.
Yeah. And what do locusts like to eat?
Fruit.
Fruits and anything green, leaves. And so now we have not just one locust that maybe eat some leaves off of one plant. Swarms of locusts come and they eat the rest of the crops and all the fruits on the trees. So what's happened here? The animals are dead. All the crops in the field are dead now, are gone and been eaten by locusts. Pharaoh must be ready to let Moses take the children of Israel away. Is he ready yet?
No.
No? Oh, man, I thought he'd be ready by now. There's so much going on. He doesn't have many animals left. Everyone must be complaining about all these things that are happening. Let's see what happens. Let's read the next plague. Then the Lord said to Moses,
"Stretch out your hand toward heaven, that there may be darkness over the land of Egypt, darkness which may even be felt."
So Moses stretched out his hand toward heaven, and there was a thick darkness in all the land of Egypt for 3 days. They did not see one another, nor did anyone rise from his place for 3 days. But all the children of Israel had light in their dwellings. All right, so this is the 9th plague. What's this one?
Darkness.
Yeah. Do you like being in the dark?
I'm okay with it. I
You're
would
okay.
say I'm fine, but
You're fine with the dark, right? What about for 3 days of darkness?
I'll probably miss some of the daytime things that you could do.
Yeah, I think you would. I think you'd miss a lot of things to do. And these people didn't get up and move around. It was so dark. There is still a difference between the Egyptians and the Israelites. All right, Pharaoh must be ready. He's been in the dark now for 3 days. Is he ready to let the people go?
No.
No, he still isn't. All right, we're going to go on to the next one, the very last one. And there's a part that we are missing a little bit in here, so I'm hoping to read it with somebody else. And another time is the story of the Passover and the instructions that are given to all the Israelites to do to get ready for this very last plague. So we're going to skip to what the 10th plague was and what happens, all right? So then Moses said,
"Thus says the Lord, about midnight I will go out into the midst of Egypt, and all the firstborn in the land of Egypt shall die, from the firstborn of Pharaoh who sits on his throne, even to the firstborn of the female servant who is behind the handmill, and all the firstborn of the animals. But against none of the children of Israel shall a dog move its tongue, against man or beast, that you may know that the Lord does make a difference between the Egyptians and the Israel."
And it came to pass at midnight that the Lord struck all the firstborn in the land of Egypt. So Pharaoh rose in the night, he, all his servants, and all the Egyptians. And there was a great cry in Egypt, for there was not a house where there was not one dead. So what was this 10th plague?
The 10th plague was death of the firstborn.
Yeah. Somebody died in every single house in Egypt. Yeah, it says there was a great cry. Imagine waking up at midnight and everybody, all your neighbors and everybody else, there's someone dead. And they all just start crying and wailing. And maybe there's some, you're very upset because somebody had died. It's a firstborn member of your house. Somebody has died. And is this Pharaoh finally ready?
Yes.
Yeah, because he lost his son. His son died, his firstborn son, who is probably going to be the next Pharaoh, who's someone really important to him. He has died also. So
I'm the firstborn in my family.
You're the firstborn in your family. Yeah, I am not. But you are. Yeah, it'd be very sad, wouldn't it? In the land of Goshen where the Israelites were living, it wasn't the same. There wasn't a big cry going out because they hopefully followed what the Lord commanded and nobody died. But in Egypt, nobody followed that. And so there was a big cry out and the firstborn died. So we have here, then Pharaoh called for Moses and Aaron by night. So it's the middle of the night and he says, go get Moses and Aaron, bring them to me. And what does he say?
Rise, go out from among my people, both you and the children of Israel, and go serve the Lord as you have said. Also take your flocks and your herds as you have said, and be gone, and bless me also.
And the Egyptians urged the people that they may send them out of the land in haste. So the Egyptians are done. We have all lost somebody, and they send the Israelites off into, off with Moses towards the promised land. Well, thank you for reading that with me.
You're welcome.
So what do you think of all those plagues?
I think I wouldn't like them to happen to me, but they're quite interesting for me as well.
Yeah, it's interesting to read about and to see how they affected everybody differently, right?
Yeah, but you definitely wouldn't want to be in one of the plagues.
No, it's bad enough we have COVID. I don't need anything else, right?
Yeah.
What plague do you like the most, or do you find the most disgusting?
I find the most disgusting probably the flies. And the most interesting would probably I'd probably say it's hard to really probably the death of the firstborn. Well, I mean, It's not very nice, but it's a bit interesting.
It is interesting. How did that happen? How did the firstborn of every household die? Like, you can understand the hail that came and killed all the crops, right? The locusts that came and ate everything, the flies that come swarming in, right? But the death of a firstborn, that right there in every household shows that it must have been by God's hand. Can you tell me, is there a time in your life that you had to be courageous, or that you saw God's hand working?
When I was little, about around 3, there was a fire next to our beach house, to our neighbour's beach house, and we had to call a fire truck. It was huge. It was a huge fire.
Ooh, that is really scary. Was it during the day or at nighttime?
I think it was in summer, and it was kind of evening.
In the evening. Okay, so did anybody get hurt? I hope not.
We went straight away when the fire truck came, so we didn't really know.
Okay, so hopefully nobody got hurt in the fire. But that is really scary to see. And you remember that from when you were 3?
Yeah.
Yeah. And how did you see God working in that? Or how did God help you with that?
We prayed to God. I think we prayed to God when we came back.
Yeah. We probably said, thanking God for hopefully no one's safe, or looking out for people. And it makes you really thankful for what you have, right? When you see fire, that's very devastating, seeing a fire like that, a house fire.
I pray to God every night.
Oh, that's good. That's good. What do you like to pray for?
Well, I say a prayer for the food, and then when I'm in bed, I say another prayer. I usually thank God that my dad's we're able to have money so we can have food, and because we're very fortunate, because other people haven't got any homes and food. And
that's something to be it's really good to be thankful for, and to thank God for all the things that you have. That's really nice. Thank you for sharing that with me. So do you have 2 questions about the plagues that you'd like to ask?
Have you had a time in your life when you had to trust in God to help you get out of a tricky situation, and which play do you find the most interesting?
I like those 2 questions. I hope that people think about them, especially the first one. Has God ever helped you out of a tricky situation? Great questions. And before we say goodbye, do you have any words of wisdom, jokes, or a fun fact that you'd like to share?
A fun fact.
What's your fun fact?
There's a group of stars in the Milky Way called the Southern Cross, and it is only visible in the southern hemisphere.
So I can't see it.
No.
But can you see it?
Yeah, I've seen it before from our deck.
Oh, your deck. So do you have a telescope?
No, it's just, you can actually see the stars. It's just the stars, and it's like a cross.
Very cool. I like that fun fact. Thank you for sharing that with me. I had so much fun reading about the 10 plagues with you. Did you have fun also?
Yes.
Great. I hope this podcast planted a little seed of faith in you today. If you would like to read with me, go to wcfoundation.org. Click on the Little Seeds of Faith icon, scroll down, and there you'll find a spot that says, Apply Here.
Did you know that some of our outreach programs help those in financial, medical, and emotional crisis? Bad things happen in the lives of many. We believe in helping those who have stumbled. This includes assisting in the cost of emergency medical procedures, help to those who have lost employment, or those facing a sudden challenge due to emotional difficulties. If you would like to donate, please visit wcfoundation.org and look for the link Invest in Faith.
How can you grow faith throughout your whole life? WCF's Faith Launch program is designed to help you answer that huge question as you embark on your own life journey. The answer matters because the true measure of our life is faith, learning to set aside our instincts and to trust God and His Son. You develop this faith in the decisions you make, the relationships you form, and the trials you encounter. Faith Launch gives you a set of strong faith-building tools, connects you with a network of peers and mentors, and helps you reflect on the best faith plan to help guide you through your journey. Faith Launch starts fall 2020 and is aimed at young adults between the ages of 18 and 35. There is no cost to participate, and to better accommodate your schedule, much of the program will be delivered online. The program wraps up with a final retreat to weave together key learnings and send off participants with fresh faith inspiration. To find out more, visit wcfoundation.org/faithlaunch.